What's goody with y'all, man? YMDR television, the Rebel Matrix, you feel me? The revolution will be televised, you feel me? This is on the steps, you know what I'm saying? We out here. Let's get it. What's goody with y'all, man? YMDR television, y'all. I'm just coming to y'all to explain some stuff as far as it goes. YMDR television and this new thing that we doing called On the Steps. You feel me? So, hey y'all. Hope y'all ready to tune in for it. You feel me? It's gonna be dope as hell. You feel me? So, tap in. What's goody with y'all, man? So one thing I wanted to tell y'all as far as it goes, YMDR television is concerned. The main thing I want to tell y'all about it is YMDR television is basically a independent platform for artists all across the globe, you know what I'm saying? But it's to tell the inspirational stories of the artists who are in, the independent sphere, and basically give them an outlet to be able to influence other independent voices. Because one of the things that television didn't used to do, from what I remember, is television never gave people this ability to inspire the world basically in the trenches. You feel me? And don't get me wrong, mainstream media captured a lot of that idea from how they took a lot of ideas from that. You know what I mean? You could say the same thing with Future and Rick Ross, you feel me? Where they stole different styles from stuff. But there never was a platform that could tell you the independent spirit of every artist or person from an independent space and be inspiring on top of that. So YMDR television, that's mainly what we try to do with it, or that's what it is mainly. So that's what we try to basically present to you with it. And what I wanted to tell y'all at least about the On the Steps situation with YMDR television, basically that's like a TV show. You know what I'm saying? But it's going to be a way to show y'all just different outlets of what is your humble beginnings as an artist, as a person? Where did you start out before it was just you doing this or you doing that? Because everybody as artists get caught up in trying to be in the limelight, but they don't think about their humble beginnings. And so On the Steps is kind of like a way of rekindling or going back to what was it like when you were inspiring people and you was at ground zero. You feel me? So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to try to talk about through my own story today, while I also wanted to just tell y'all about what YMDR is in general. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, man, On the Steps, we chilling, we do this. So I just wanted to tell y'all my main episode with the one and only homie who created YMDR television. You already know what it is. KontroverSy. You know what I'm saying? So dig it. One thing I also wanted to say before we get into it is as far as when I do the street like interviews for YMDR television. YMDR television is a rebel platform, just so y'all know. So y'all can cuss, y'all can say different things. Like, we don't discriminate against people on that platform. You could do whatever you want, pretty much. And I might ask you some outlandish questions on YMDR television interviews, you feel me? But it just depends on the vibe of the person though too. So just so y'all know, just wanted to let y'all know that. And also I wanted to let y'all know as well is that when I use the terminology, the revolution will not be televised on YMDR television, that's not to say that the revolution is televised. You dig? Because a lot of people can get confused about what I mean by that, or in general, people get confused about that. But I want to let y'all know what it means, just so y'all can get an idea about it. The revolution will not be televised when it comes to YMDR television. It's saying the revolution is in your mind first before it's outside of the essence of the things that you get from television or outwardly approaching. You see what I'm saying? So the revolution will always start in your mindset and how you view life and what goes on in your life, how you do certain shit in life. So that's the reason why I'm saying the revolution will be the revolution is televised. You feel me? It's not to say it's literally televised, because once you understand the rebel mind that you have as a person, or the rebel understanding of yourself as a person, it will transcend into the reality that you choose to put it in, which will not be a televised concept. You see what I'm saying? And so I brought that idea into Correlation to tell people when I do the street interviews. So yeah, that's the first thing I wanted to tell y'all, just as we knocking it out. You feel me? Okay. So let's get on to the YMDR television on the steps episode. So for me, I'm gonna start off with myself. Like I said, controversy in the building. We do this shit, gang gang. But my episode in general, I'm gonna tell y'all about where I started as far as on the steps for me. For me, I lived with my mother, you know what I'm saying? That was where I started as far as YMDR was concerned in general. I lived with my mother. That was the first step of where I was at. I was living with my moms. I was creating shit. I was going to work. I used to work at Amazon. You feel me? I used to try to work and basically live in my mom's house and create shit. But it was a very horrible dynamic, because I had to do that while also dealing with a mother who was religious, and she was always pushing a religious concept on me and other people, you know what I'm saying? And so in my mind, that's kind of why, for me, how I kind of brought the aspect of my stuff into play was I had to really let it just be me and really build on it from my own correlation. Like, nobody helped me really feel that inspiration to do YMDR but myself. You feel me? When I lived with my mom's, because again, she was pushing a lot of verbal things to say that it would never go nowhere, it would never get to a better place, just yada yada yada, lots of things that were very uninspiring to the confines of why I was creating YMDR. So the one thing that I could tell people about it is that was where my humble beginnings started. That's also why, if y'all look at the little YMDR tattoo that I have on my arm, I'm gonna have to show a little picture of that. But quintessentially, that's the reason why the D, the dedication to the Most High, on there is basically like, that's the reason why it's pretty much like angry, because I had to be frustrated in understanding the values of God while also trying to understand myself. So it wasn't a concept of me basically coming at my entertainment or the concepts of my entertainment from a healthy place. I was always in an angry place sometimes, you know, either yelling or lots of different stuff. So it caused a lot of mental stress from those type of correlations. And so I could say that that's the main concept as to why, when I look at my humble beginnings was pretty rough. Because I always told myself when I lived with my mother and I was dealing with the verbal abuse, I was in the valley of the shadow of death. You feel me? And it wasn't really like a great feeling for me at the same time. Even though it wasn't a great feeling for me, I still brought myself to a correlation to understand where I was trying to be and what I was trying to do. So I pushed myself a lot of times to stay motivated, even though I wasn't motivated. You see what I'm saying? So I look at it now like when I got out of the situation with my mother and I live in this apartment complex that I'm in now as a new breaking point to inspire my abilities to move forward and build on them as time is progressing. So yeah, when I really think about it and put it into correlation as to why now I've grown in my inspiration of YMDR and just my inspiration of doing it in general, this is where it started. That's pretty much where it started, was in a very messy, unorganized, unhealthy place. But yet I was able to still know what I wanted to do moving forward. And I remember making YMDR official, I think I can say in 2024. I think it's 2024, but if I'm not mistaken, it's actually 2022. Yeah, it's 2022. So really, if we count that up, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, I've only been realistically operating for 3 years. But, oh, wait a minute, we really in 2026. So that's really been like motherfucking 4 years at the same time. But yeah, I mean, still not a long time. But at the same time, I feel like YMDR I've been doing my whole entire life type shit. But I think that the reason I can come back to this and tell people about it is because it's a way to at least let y'all know that though I'm a creative person and I have created all these avenues for people to tap in with, it's to at least let y'all know like that was where I was at. You know, because a lot of people will think that when you create a platform from a certain area, or if you too creative and you create platforms just all under one person, that you do that from a place of just trying to basically hog everybody of what platforms they have and shit. And it's really not even like that. It's just when you're a creative person, you have a lot of creative avenues that you might go down. And people have to be ready and willing to notice that that's the type of vibe that you bring in. You feel me? Because ultimately, there was some artists I ran into who was like that. I remember an artist was a producer. He thought that I only was just supposed to do music. And I was telling him, bro, I have multiple talents. Like, I'm not saying that to shit on the fact that I'm like a rapper or that I can't be a rapper. Like, if somebody, you know, told me, you know, are you a rapper? I would say, yeah, type shit. But he was more or less trying to make it seem like I didn't have these other capabilities, which is why I didn't want to work with him. And really, he just was on some negative vibes anyway in general, so I really wasn't fucking with him just because of that. And so, yeah, man, when I really think about my platform and what I try to bring forward to people about it, is YMDR is truly for every artist. I'm not looking at this shit like a quantifier. Like I'm trying to say who's the lesser than artist, which artist is better than this artist. Even in Indianapolis, I did this, you know, when I was doing videos for people and it was 11 years in, I wasn't quantifying who is a better artist, you know, whether they was a rapper or not a rapper or this or that. Like I just wanted all of us truly to come together and understand how we could correlate in the unification of an independent sphere that would work to build a better sphere that was for or out of the reach of the mainstream media. Because ultimately, YMDR's concept is to try to change the entertainment industry, because the entertainment industry has a lot of things in it that are dark and fucked up. And most people who come out of the entertainment industry tell you this shit. They tell you how they have been raped, or they have been this, or they have been X, Y, and Z. And so YMDR was supposed to be like that safe haven for artists to not have to deal with that kind of shit, because ultimately every artist is at a correlation where they don't have to bring dark things into the industry for it to run itself, you know. And that's what a lot of people don't really put into correlation with platforms. They create platforms, but there's a lot of negative fucked up things on the back end. You could look at this shit even with people who have platforms in China. When they tell people, or a woman in China, that she's going to a photo shoot, that photo shoot could be where she gets raped. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like with YMDR and the platform that I created, I almost made it like a safe haven for artists of all kinds to be in a space where they can create, they can be this, they can be that, and nobody has to feel like somebody gonna do something to me this way, da-da-da-da-da, on the back end, just because I'm an artist. Somebody gonna do this to me on the back end because of da-da-da-da-da. Like, we don't have to be like that at the end of the day. And so I always thought of that when I was watching television. I thought of it like, hey man, like, if we was independent, we would control what artist was like that, what artist wasn't like that, and it would help us to not let that type of shit get brought into the correlation. Because when we really think about this whole shit with the pedophilia shit that they've been bringing up in the industry, and just in general with our country, government-wise, all that shit is only that way because the industry decided to allow themselves to be people like that. You see what I'm saying? Like, they allowed themselves to be people who wanted to fuck up people's lives from that angle. You know what I mean? And the more that I've like thought of it and just put it into correlation with myself and in general, I've almost felt like, you know, why did the industry go this long doing that kind of shit to people? Why did they present this type of idea to people for so long, to where they felt like that was the only thing they had to do or be a part of? It was like a very destructive thing to have to hear. And in my mind, that's the reason why I was like, hey man, I gotta do something. And so what I thought to do was say, hey man, let's make an independent platform that reflects independent things, and we can control what basically we putting out here to people and what concepts we putting out here to people. We can keep that shit on the back end that's fucked up. If you a pedophile, if you on some other crazy fucked up shit like that, you can get the fuck on. You know what I'm saying? We can knock that shit out the grave as it needs to be knocked out the grave, because we have the control of the platform itself. You see what I'm saying? And so ultimately, that's what I try to present to every artist, every person, and every real person watching my platform, is that that's the things that basically correlate as to why YMDR is such an important thing to me. Another thing that I can say YMDR does is it changes the idea of what the industry used to be in. If you remember how the industry used to be, the industry pretty much used to talk about basically money, sex, and drugs. And really back in the other industry era of the industry, it didn't actually used to talk about that. But quintessentially, if you remember MTV, if you remember the correlations of it, they were always seeing black people from the essence of always only having those values, is money, sex, and drugs, and treating women like objects, and this, that, and the third. And so when I created YMDR also, I was also thinking about, why did they make the black community like we were one track minded, like we had one way of thinking, and it wasn't really like that for us, because the black community was versatile. There were people in the hoods that didn't do shit, that some motherfuckers didn't fuck with, but we were still in the hood with each other. Whether we didn't do shit from the streets or whether we did do shit from the streets, we were versatile. And I felt like this platform, when I started to create it, it also was a way to say black people can be versatile. They don't have to be just one specific way, because we've grown to believe that somebody is cool off of the basis of what they think they supposed to be in the hood, because the hood will shame you for certain shit that you basically think that you are. And it's no surprise that when you are being true to yourself and you are being what the hood don't want you to be, the hood always got something to say about it. But nowadays, because we've evolved and brought ourselves into deeper correlations with ourselves, we have learned that just because the hood got different people in it, you can't silence those different people in the hood just because they don't do the same shit as you. You feel me? So what I've learned as a black person now is that any motherfucker who think of me like I'm weird as shit, or they don't fuck with my platform, or they don't see me for who I really am, I'm not worried about those kind of people, because the way I see it is YMDR is just a way to try to say black people have versatility. We've been had versatility. We've always had versatility. And I think if you start to realize that, you won't put yourself in this correlation to believe that you need to hate me for it. Because ultimately what I'm bringing out in the community to show y'all is that we wasn't just gangster rappers all the time. We wasn't just vibing to only gangster vibes. We wasn't only vibing to gangster personifications. You see what I'm saying? This is a way for y'all to see and realize that everybody from y'all hoods don't always got to do the same shit as y'all to be active. Y'all don't always have to think that just because a motherfucker ain't doing street shit, he not active. This is why this platform was created, is to say, let's draw the line in the sand. You feel me? You want to think that just because I ain't from the streets, just because I don't know how to do this, that I don't know how to do that, that I'm not really a motherfucker that's from y'all hood or whatever. Hey, that's cool by me. But let's draw the line in the sand and let's teach each other the idea that, truthfully speaking, I'm no different than you. I just have a versatile mindset to how I view shit. And I can see that in the black community, whether you want me to see it or not. You see what I'm saying? And so that's the main goal that I feel like YMDR had, and it still has to this day. You feel me? I don't care who's on my platform right now thinking that YMDR is a platform that's just a joke, or I'm just creating it for whatever reason. I'm not worried about that kind of person. I don't care about the secret haters, the secret shiesty motherfuckers. Like, I'm not worried about any of those motherfuckers, because what they fail to see is this was a correlation to try to teach people that YMDR and the brand in general is about versatility. You feel me? Black people are versatile, whether the world wants us to believe that shit or not. You see what I'm saying? And we can also change the entertainment industry, taking our entertainment back, because nowadays they're turning our entertainment, the industry is turning our entertainment into literal shit rock, because they don't want to make our entertainment under what we had it under. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the scale of where our rap was or where our hip hop was, any of that shit, you look up the scale, we was positive rap first. Then we was gangster rap after. And now, if you look at the correlation of it, it's shit music now. But you see how the industry did that correlation like that? The industry did that intentionally so that the artists and the people would not notice that they're basically were going to decrease the essence of how their concept of what they were creating was going to be. And I think that the more artists actually see that shit and put it into correlation, we can bring it back into what we want it to be, taking the entertainment back. and turn it into what we want it to be. Because when you see that as a motherfucker who's intellectual, you really start to realize like, hey man, like that's some bullshit. You feel me? Like, why would you let the industry do that to y'all? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where YMDR steps in, is as independent media, we can see that kind of shit. We can notice that that's what they doing, and we can say, let's take the entertainment back then. If that's how y'all want to do our entertainment, I know y'all motherfuckers only care about the money. Y'all only care about making money off of us. But let's take that shit back, put it into an independent spirit, and make money that way. Let's flip that shit all up in the black community and just let that be what it is, because we not standing for that bullshit and seeing that that's the only thing that y'all want to do to our entertainment to begin with. So that's the whole correlation, man, to the idea. You know what I'm saying? If I could tell y'all in those steps of the situation. But I think I could tell y'all, this is just my last little thoughts in the midst of this. When I was in the situation with my mother and I was verbally abused and stuff, the one thing I had to realize was, what mental steps was I taking to do what I was able to do to get to what I was getting to? And the first mental steps I took was, I was going to basically put in applications for apartments so I could move out, so I could do this, so I could do that. And so I would advise anybody, if you got mental steps first to deal with whoever it is in your life that's trying to hold you back, let those mental steps guide you into the physical steps, so that the next time somebody come at you on some shit and you think they trying to step on your life or step on the essence of what you are, you can literally be able to pick it up and realize how to get them motherfuckers out your way. Because the only steps that you can take moving forward is great ones, as long as you are moving with that same correlation. And that's the episode. YMDR Television. This has been On the Steps. You feel me? Y'all have a wonderful day. Y'all stay impacted, never controlled. If y'all have any other questions or concerns about YMDR, you can let me know. But until then, we out. What's goody with y'all, man? YMDR Television, you feel me? Episode, we out here. YouTube people, if y'all want to tap in and like, share, comment on the situation, let me know what you think of the YMDR On the Steps episode. Like I said, it started with me. Who next? You feel me? Who next in this motherfucker? You feel me? We about to get it in like we never left, you know what I'm saying? On the steps, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, if y'all want to like, subscribe, y'all, I got 96 people or 93 people as my followers right now. I just want to get my followers up, man. If y'all can help a brother get his followers up on YouTube, I appreciate y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? It's all love. But hey, y'all, I just wanted to let y'all know what's going on, what we doing. And y'all have a wonderful day. Stay impacted, never controlled.
Hello, light. Hello, light.